It's 5:38 now, with energy prices set to rocket because of the war in Iran. Ed Miliband claims it's proof that net zero is the only way forward. Now, the Energy Secretary posted this on X yesterday. He said conflicts in the Middle East is yet another reminder that the only route to energy security and sovereignty for the UK is to get off our dependence on fossil fuel markets, whose prices we do not control, and onto clean, homegrown power that we do control. Well, let's have a ding-dong. I'm now delighted to be joined now by Donnachadh McCarthy, who's the director of the Climate Media Coalition, and I'm joined in Westminster in the studio by Maurice Cousins, who's the campaign director at Net Zero Watch. Donnachadh, I'm going to start with you. Ed Miliband always thinks fossil fuels should be killed off, but here we are now. We're at the mercy of third world tyrants. Surely the answer is to drill, baby, drill, and be oil sovereign.
Well, we've actually seen over the last 50 years, every 10 years, there's an oil crisis caused by Israel invading yet another country. So what we actually need to do is actually, that hammers our economy. It cost us 70 billion in the latest crisis with Russia. So having energy that is inflation-proof is absolutely crucial to our sovereignty for this country. And actually, that's why Ed Miliband is right. What we should be doing is doing the transition faster, not slowing it down, as Mr. Cousins keeps asking us to do. I live in a solar-powered house. I know the price of my electricity for the next 20 years is going to be zero, because actually I have solar-powered and battery in my home, and that is what I want Britain to do, and Ed Miliband's absolutely right, we should do it.
There we go, Maurice Cousins. All we have to do is put giant solar panels everywhere and we'll all be tickety-boo.
I mean, look, I wish that was true. Unfortunately, I don't think it is. And, you know, Donnachadh is right, you know, that we do see occasional price spikes in the international prices for energy. But the lesson from all these crises is that we are more than self-sufficient when it comes to natural resources. We've got coal, we've got gas, we've got oil, and we should be moving at pace and scale to be exploiting all of these for our homes, but also for the industries that actually serve the basis of our hard power needs in this really volatile world.
Donnachadh, isn't that particularly a point when we're in a precipitous position such as we are with war now? HMS, Dragon can't get to the Mediterranean by a wind turbine. We need oil and gas, whether you like it or not.
Well, we're actually in the process of we can phase out. We've phased out around 72% of the fossil fuels in our electricity grid already. We've only got 28% to go. If we were at zero, we would have no exposure to this crisis, yet another crisis in the Middle East. The idea of actually staying addicted to fossil fuels to protect yourself from fossil fuel crisis is actually the logic of Net Zero Watch. It's not surprising. There are dark money funded lobbyists for the international oil industry, and actually what we should be doing, they're a national security threat, because having people in our country who are lobbyists, who don't declare who funds them, able to intervene in our national security debate, I think is a real threat to Britain. It's a double national security threat.
I think, look, Donna, we've had this conversation many times before. We're not funded by fossil fuel interests.
You're dark money funded.
Whatever. The fundamental point is that warfare has not been decarbonised, and many of the sectors that are required in order for us to be able to fight effectively require vast amounts of fossil fuels. And in this very dangerous, hard world, we need to shift from a peacetime mindset, which I'm afraid, Donnachadh, you and people like Ed Miliband, firmly sit in, to one which is of war readiness, and that requires us exploiting all of our natural resources so that they can support things like chemicals, steel, cement, plastics, things that cannot be decarbonised, and that we have control over. There are certainly, I think that where I would agree with you is where we can look at ways of cleaning up the energy system through things like nuclear power. But we need to stop.
It's expensive.
You
don't care about it.
But that is not. The cost is only one element of it.
It's only one element.
Another element of it is reliability. Another element of it is reliability and also density. And unfortunately,
Donnachadh,
the time is now coming where we're having to move away from a peacetime.
Gentlemen,
mindset
Gentlemen, one at a time. Morris, you've had a good go. Donnachadh, final word to you.
The problem with Net Zero Watch always is they advocate the most expensive energy for the British public, nuclear and fossil fuels. The International Energy says that renewables are the cheapest energy available. What's going to happen over the next couple of months, Martin, is the British public going to be hammered with rising prices for fossil fuels, and that's going to fuel inflation because we haven't weaned ourselves totally off fossil fuels.
Well,
we need to go faster and do it.
No, I think what we advocate for is energy realism, and I have been in this space now for well over a decade.
Always wrong.
And no, I don't think that's actually fair.
You warned us we would be.
Hey guys, one at a time. Morris, you've got 5 seconds. Chop chop.
We need to be exploiting all of our natural resources, going for broke on all of these things, so that we can defend our interests and ensure that we are insulated from future shocks.
Okay, time, gentlemen, please. Thank you very much. Donnachadh McCarthy, the director there of Climate Media Coalition, and Morris Cousins, the campaign director at Net Zero Watch. Superb ding dong. Thank you. Now, coming up next, we're speaking with the